So I've done this one a couple times, but this time I'm going to try to go into my memory and actually paint you a picture. It's going to be hard for me, but I think it might help people understand how real this really is. So the example of when I was being heavily drugged, this one's going to be when I went to my adoption and I wasn't allowed to actually be there because somebody drugged me. I'm going to go in from the beginning, start out until we get to the party at the end. So in the beginning of the day, they got me up and told me it was time for adoption. Now I can't remember if I was living there, program, wherever. I'm pretty sure I was living at home. The part that really sticks in my brain is the medication abuse. So before we get into the car, my mother pulls me aside. Now my father's not at this time with me, but my mother is, and she gives me a handful of medication and tells me to take it right before we're getting in the car, which I take. I take this handful of medication like my mother tells me. She says you need these meds for life. Take them. Don't blame the meds. Take them. You need these medications for life. Don't blame the meds. These are the common phrases that she instills in me all the time. She tells me, honor thy mother, thy father. When we say jump, you jump. If we tell you to jump off a bridge, you say jump off the bridge. If we you say how far down. So I'm trying to give a good sense of humor here, but it is very hard. Um, I use dark humor sometimes in these, so keep that in mind. My mother says jump off a bridge. I say, how far down? That's what she expected of me. Bad joke. Anyways, so she gives me the meds. I take them because she says take them. I take them. And then they escort me to the car. Takes about 30 minutes from the meds to the car, maybe less. We start drive. Well, I don't drive. I'm in the back seat. They're in the front seat. We start driving to this courthouse. Now, I don't know where this courthouse was, but it's a courthouse for an adoption. But I go unconscious in the car, in and out. I'm kind of very drowsy. I'm starting to feel very woozy. I'm starting to be very shaky too. I'm not feeling too good. I'm feeling a little shaky. Luckily, I'm sitting down in a back seat, so it's not too big of an issue, and I just kind of like doze off a little. We get to the courthouse. At this point, I'm having trouble walking, so my mother kind of helps drag me along. I'm having trouble keeping up. And we get to a wooden bench, very highly polished. I remember crawling into the bench sideways, at which this point I go unconscious. I can't hear the judge. I can't hear my mother. I can't hear the millions of people, or the people. I don't think it's millions, but it's probably like 10 to 40. But I can't hear any of the people around me. All I remember is passing out on this wooden bench. Now, I could have got picked up and moved. Something, that might have been where we were waiting. I don't know. I only got into the courthouse to the wooden bench. Boom, I'm out like a light. Polished wooden lawn, just like a normal bench that you would see. Kind of more like a church pew is what it's kind of what it's like. But anyways, and it's a light oak color. It's not like polished red or anything. It's just like a polyurethane over wood. And I pass out in there. Now, what happens after that, I have no clue. I'm passed out unconscious. My breathing has slowed down. I'm out like a light. Now, apparently it's all over with, and I remember my mom picking me up, or I should say, what I thought was my mother, picking me up, and then bringing me out of the courthouse, dragging me, picking me up, helping me out. And then I remember them being like, what's wrong with him? Oh, I don't know. It just must be overwhelmed, is what she was telling people on the way out. I could hear her, but I wasn't quite conscious or able to move my body right, and I was totally drugged. At this point, she's just telling people that I must be overwhelmed, that it's something to do with me, not all the medications she gave me. We get out of the courthouse, get back in the car. I pass back out, but they ask me a couple questions. Aren't you happy? Yeah, but I'm tired. Aren't you excited? We're going they were going someplace to celebrate. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. And I barely can form sentences. I'm very lethargic, but I'm starting to come out of it a little. I can feel like the lightning feeling in my spine starting to go away. But I'm not trying to walk yet, so it's a little different. And we get to whatever the location for this party is. During this party, I'm very lethargic. I am walking and standing up now, but my legs feel like they're going to give out. I'm very tired. I kind of want to curl up on the floor into a ball, but I'm kind of told not to. Eventually, they get me a chair to sit in, but a lot of people come up to me and ask me what's wrong. What's wrong? What's wrong? And I don't know what's wrong. I don't know. At this age, I don't know that I was drugged to keep me quiet. I don't know why my mother did it, and I have no idea what the consequences are of doing this to me. I have no idea that all these druggings I'm going to pay for with this shaking, nervy feeling I have. But I don't know, is what I tell everybody, and they assume I'm depressed or something when I'm not. And this is how my mother starts getting this depression crazy idea. Every time I'm lethargic, tired, or drugged, she's going to spread that I'm depressed. Eventually, I do become depressed because of these crazy medications, way too much of them, but that's a story for another time. At this point, this stuff continues for many more years, and I'm not taking any drugs, just the ones that are being forced down my throat. Keep that in mind. This is one of the examples, just one of many, of where something went wrong. And I was already having problems with my nervous system before my adoption.